Donk Nation, Jax and Janet's greetings and welcome to your daily dose of Donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, bringing you the Steelers talk. We're back in session. Sorry for anyone expecting a special Bugaboo cap. We didn't do that this week because, well, things are kind of busy. But trade deadline came, bye week came, Steelers are getting healthy. A couple new additions to this roster in the forms of Mike Williams, receiver, formerly with the Chargers where he had his good years, and this year coming off the ACL with the Jets, really not much production there. And Preston Smith, a guy who kind of fell out of favor with the way the Packers are now running defense, but a guy who's had good numbers in the past, still in his younger 30s, and a guy who can fill in at outside linebacker, potentially slide down to defensive end, big body guy. I'll say this, two good pickups, Gingy, in terms of improving the roster, but are either one of them needle movers is the question I'll hold to you, Gingy, and then you can go to Laskers, as they're both here in action, ready to get back off the bye.
New Gigi in the house off the bye. Whoa, Donkey. That is a mouthful. But you know what? There's a mouthful of Steelers action this week. Let's freaking go, people. All right, still coming off a crazy Thursday night game, looking at the Steelers AFC North competition in action, getting ready for the Steelers versus the Commanders this weekend. I'm stoked. Laskers, what are you thinking it?
Well, I'll actually answer Donkey's questions. I don't think either of them are needle movers, but I'm stoked to see what we can do this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Good weekend. If anyone watched the Thursday night game, it was very exciting. It was fun football. It was two teams who don't know how to play defense. Let's be honest there. And my biggest question is going to be this. And I'm going to just ask, we'll do a little recap of Thursday night football. The Bengals scored the touchdown that puts them down a point with 40 seconds left. I love going for two when you're the road team. I personally do. Don't risk a coin flip like Tampa Bay did to frickin' Patrick Mahomes and let him go down, all right? That's what would have happened with Lamar Jackson. In 40 seconds, he might have gone field goal range. But you're the Cincinnati Bengals. You have a two-point conversion. How the hell do you run a play where the number one option is not Jamar Chase? And you know this because Joe Burrow never looked left, which is where Jamar Chase was. How the hell, guys, do you run a two-point conversion pass play and not look for that guy?
I don't know how you do that.
It's
Bengals. I don't know what to say, man.
Yeah, they're a huge... Dude, that team's been a huge letdown. Their defense hasn't done anything, and their offense has been just good enough to lose. But I have an honest question. The Ravens' defense sucks, but can you stop Lamar Jackson this year? Like, is there a way to stop Lamar Jackson? I'm not even talking Derrick Henry here. We'll talk about him when we get into the Ravens game thing.
That's one of the keys, man.
Can you stop Lamar Jackson? And also, why the hell did they trade for Deontay Johnson? He's their number 5 wide receiver?
Interesting.
He literally is. Like, it's Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, that Wallace guy seems to get more time than him, Nelson Aguilar, and then Deontay Johnson. That trade just had to be, they had a chance to get a guy who was a former Steeler, right? So they wanted him, right?
It seems like it. That's what it seems like.
Also, Gingy, Laskers, a new story coming out from the Steelers rumor mill this week was a player with sway was the reason Tyler Boyd never became a Pittsburgh Steeler. Is it fair to say that player with sway is Cam Hayward? Because we know him and Cam Hayward have had words before about saying stuff about the Bengals when he was the Bengal about the Steelers. Is Cam Hayward a pseudo GM right now?
Definitely possible.
He's a Steelers legacy player, and some of those guys have got to make calls. Ben Roethlisberger. So,
dude, you say that, but Ben lost Antonio Brown, and you know damn good and well that wasn't Ben's choice.
Antonio Brown lost himself, man. That just got too out of control. He was really successful there for a long time, but it just wasn't sustainable. Him in general,
literally
not
up
any
till
of
the
those
day
relationships.
he left. Like, up to the day he left, he was arguably the best receiver on the team. or maybe even in the league still at that
In the
point,
league?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's all decade, man, for sure. Even with that 5-year body of work.
Like, he had a great. Remember, he was like a number 5 receiver his first year, and even with that, he had numbers that were on par with Jerry Rice's first 6 years in the NFL. That's how crazy successful that dude was for an extended period of time. Not a vastly extended period, but a deep.
That's a needle mover
extended.
right there, Donkey. If you're talking about that, these two guys that we got this week, you know what? I think Preston's a great depth piece over there. I'm pretty excited about that, actually. Pretty excited. I think that kind of is a needle mover, more so than I do not know if we need a number 2, Donkey, a number 2 wide receiver. We had all season to make it happen. And I don't know if we ever just grabbed ourselves a number 2 out of all them wide receivers that we looked at and got.
I'm still sitting here going, we gave up a 5th for Mike Williams, and Kansas City gave up a 5th to get DeAndre Hopkins. Now, albeit, he's about the 20th wide receiver Kansas City's had to acquire because, holy hell, dude, what do they have, like 4 big, maybe not big producers, but 4 big-name receivers that came there and went straight to IR, essentially. I don't remember seeing Hollywood Brown play a game. Rashid Rice got himself hurt. They traded for Juju Smith-Schuster, right? And then he gets hurt. And I think there's another name I'm forgetting in there. But, man, DeAndre, you've been productive your first 2 games. I hope you don't run into the same fate as every other receiver they've acquired because I wouldn't want to be traded that team. But in terms of compensation, if the Steelers are just active earlier, you get a guy like DeAndre Hopkins for a 5th rounder. Devontae Adams gets traded earlier. Those 2 guys seem to be bigger names than Mike Williams. But, Gingy, I want to put forward, and actually I'll go to Laskers first on this. I want to put forward the case why Mike Williams helps this team. Okay, the Steelers currently, as it is, we have a nice gadget play wide receiver in Calvin Austin. We have a 1B, 2A receiver in George Pickens, however you want to phrase it. And then we have a number 5 receiver in Van Jefferson. Mike Williams comes in. He's a number 4 wide receiver. That's an upgrade, right? Upgrade number 2. Van Jefferson is a smaller wide receiver. Mike Williams is all 6'4", 220, big wide receiver, good blocking wide receiver. Steelers want to be a run-first team. Najee's been pounding the ball well. Jaylen Warren in there as the switch-up. Not only does he improve us from a number 5 to a number 4 receiver, Laskers, but potentially the bigger deal with the Mike Williams trade is he's a good run blocker, and he's now 13 months removed from an ACL injury, so maybe he regains a little bit of that speed as the season goes on and potentially becomes a deep threat option and a number 3 wide receiver. Laskers, there is hope in this trade, right?
There's definitely hope. I mean, the biggest thing I see right now is his run blocking ability. Hopefully he can get all of his speed back because, he actually was a pretty fast wide receiver.
Good deep threat. 1,000-yard season with the Chargers just 2 or 3 years ago.
I think it was 3 years ago. But, that's the biggest thing is let's hope he can do that stuff again.
Gingy, I tried to paint you the prettiest Birmingham I could, right? Did you want to go sit on the front porch in the rocking chair, or are you not buying it?
I'm not ready for that yet.
Fair enough there. And maybe here I'll paint the dark side of this scenario, right? Is Mike Williams was the deep threat receiver for the Chargers. He played beside a great route runner in Keenan Allen, a great hands guy like Keenan Allen. I guess, and Gingy, I'll go to you first on this one. I guess the argument against the Mike Williams trade is Mike Williams' good skill set is the same skill set as George Pickens, so he doesn't really help the team. Right? That's the negative side of this trade. You could make the argument, Gingy.
Donkey, I just really feel like we really found I'm disappointed in the wide receiver selection overall. Not because I don't like Mike Williams, because I felt like we've had all off season and all so far this season to secure a guy at a higher level position, and that's the guy we ended up with. No offense, Mike Williams. Let's hope that your scenario turns out right with him. The upper end of that positive projection, but come on, man. We had all season to take care of this man.
Gingy, we have him for half a season, and he's gonna have the second highest cap hit of all Steelers offensive players while only playing for the Steelers half a season.
That
to me is the craziest part.
That's a big commitment. That's a large amount of faith.
He better show up.
That's what I'm saying. He better show up. It's got to be that way.
Any other off-season stuff you guys want to talk about before we go ahead and move into the Commanders game that we get to talk about?
Bye week, we covered the acquisitions.
Zach Frazier allegedly about to come back.
Oh,
starting
I like
center.
That.
But what's kind of scary about that is, dude, how do you bench a guy who the running game has just come to fruition under? Because that's what's going to happen. And that makes me a little nervous, man. I know Zach Frazier is allegedly the better guy on paper, has played PFF rating-wise better, but we can't argue the running game has been better since his injury. We can't argue that.
You can't tell me you're going to give away Zach Frazier's job to an injury.
No, I'm not.
3 games?
I'm not. What I'm saying is, do you have a little bit of scare here with Zach Frazier coming in that maybe it affects the team, right?
I would call it a
there is a
twinge
potential
of hesitation.
It's not positive.
What if I called it a twinge of hesitation rather than a scare, Donkey? I mean, that's a bit over exaggerated, I do, but obviously when your guys are gelling and you've got a unit together, it'll take a second to adjust when you throw a new guy into the middle, a center of that mix. So, yeah, a twinge of hesitation. Not scared, though.
Baby Herbig getting limited in practice, probably not going to play this week. Big Bro Herbig allegedly might start trying to get revved up and going. And the fun story for me is the Steelers re-signed Dylan Cook to the practice squad. Remember, they wasted an IR activation on Dylan Cook to cut him the next day. Like, you only get 4 IR activations a year, and we used it on a dude we cut the next day. That's odd, to say the least.
Weird.
And it's not like we acquired someone to take that spot. So that to me was just an oddity of the time, we'll say. Laskers, anything you want to get into before we get to the Amanda's talk?
I got nothing.
All right, then let's get into it. Pitt going to the Washington Commanders. Did you know we played this 79 times? This is much like the Giants when I did the research, and I'm like, holy hell, that's weird. At one point, they were called the Boston Redskins, if anyone's curious. Then they became the Washington Redskins. Then, of course, the Washington football team, which, by the way, thank God they're not called that because they were undefeated against the Steelers as that team. And now the Commanders will play them for the first time as the Commanders. Overall, the Steelers are 33-43-3 against the Commanders. At home, the Steelers are 20-23. On the road, we're 13-20-3, with all 3 ties coming on the road. The largest win was the Boston Redskins beating the Pittsburgh Pirates at the time, 39-0 in 1934. Yeah, that's a fun one for you, right? Neither name or area is correct in that one. The Steelers' biggest win was by 31 points in 1979, 38-7. The longest streak was Washington from 1938 to 45 with 12 straight. The Steelers won 7 straight from 1960 to 63. The current streak is Washington with a win in 2020, 23-7. Their streak is currently 1, but their streak was as the Washington football team. They're now the Commanders, so the slate is clean. This is the first time we ever play the Commanders. But boy, they come in here as a pretty good team, Gingy and Laskers. 7-2 on the season. Offensively, 3rd in the league in points at almost 30 points a game. 3rd in the league in yards. 11th in the league in passing. 3rd in the league in rushing. Time of possession, they're 13th. Defensively, 11th in the league in points. 14th against the pass, or 14th in yards, 5th against the pass, 29th against the run. Sacks, they're 9th in the league with 24. INTs, they're 26th in the league with 3. This is a team that's coming in here, and man, I'll tell you right now, this is the matchup for me. This is the matchup for me. I know it's Jaden Daniels out there at quarterback, but this is the one where I get to see the guy I wish the Steelers would have signed as offensive coordinator coming up against the guy we did sign as offensive coordinator. Gingy, that offense has been dang good for the Commanders this year.
Yeah, really gelling. Jaden Daniels seeming like, what, the better of the two picks, or too early to tell? And of those QBs are better than what? How many QBs up top? 4 or 5 big ones? We haven't seen a couple.
He won the matchup where they went head-to-head. I think it was in London. I will say this. His team is far better than what Caleb Williams landed in. But I'll tell you this. Jaden Daniels has a lot more of a better passing, not as good running Lamar Jackson type of play style, where Caleb Williams is sitting back there looking like he wants to be Patrick Mahomes, has the ability to run when you don't pay attention. But man, the arm talent definitely goes to Caleb Williams. But the overall package, man, right now it's Jaden Daniels without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so far, for sure.
I mean, Jaden Daniels is 50 yards a game rushing right now? That dude, and he has that knack that young Ben had, right? I'm going to stay here. I'm going to get hit in my damn teeth, and I'm going to throw a touchdown pass to Terry McLaurin. Watch that dude's game. He's not as big. He's not near as physical. He gets a little more beat up. But tell me he doesn't give you some vintage Ben vibes when you watch the tape on the Commanders, man. Just staying in there to throw the ball deep.
He definitely does give that vibe, and I'm scared.
Donkey, not going to lie, I haven't got to my tape on the Commanders yet this year, but I'll take your word for it.
I've actually watched when the Steelers aren't on, I tend to put on the little fourplex on Sunday Ticket, right? And the Commanders are always one of the other games because they're not one of my local market games ever. Man, I've watched enough of them, on just the side. Dude, that team's legit good. Their defense is probably where they're most sus, especially stopping the run, without a doubt. But the thing is, they give up early running yards, but every time they give up points, they answer right back, and eventually you have to stop running the ball against them because they have the lead. And, man, as a slow-starting Steelers team, which is what we've been, coming off the bye, we cannot start slow against this team on the road. I think, Gingy, that is the key to this game, is this team cannot start slow against the Commanders team. Let them play downhill. Let them play the style they want and put our backs against the wall where our pass rush now has to worry about the run more so, and our offense has to build into what they're good at, which is pass defense.
I don't know. We're definitely going to have to contain. Jaden Daniels can move. We're going to have to really contain him, not allow him to extend plays. You want to talk about comparisons to Ben Roethlisberger. So what did you need to do to shut down Ben Roethlisberger? You couldn't let him get outside the pocket. You couldn't let him make big plays with his legs. You couldn't let him make big plays with his arms, extending the plays beyond 4 seconds. So what does that lend itself to? We need to see that depth of the D-line up front. We need to see them dominate the pace of the game, Donkey. That's what needs to happen. That D-line, pushing back, that, formidable, I think, Commanders' offensive line. That'll be a tall task.
Mm-hmm. It certainly will. I think you stop him the same way you stopped Ben when you were able to stop him, which is simply don't let the ball go over top, right? Make him have to beat you with 8 or 9 throws. Do not let a ball over the top, and don't let the run game get established. Because much like what Ben and the early Steelers did, it's hard when that run game gets established. Those safeties have to come up. Now you're going to get hit over top. To me, the way you stop Jaden Daniels is the same way you stopped the Steelers back then. If you can stop the run without a safety help, 7 in the box, contain the run, you're golden. The problem becomes when you have to start slipping that 8th man into the box, and now all of a sudden you get to see these wide receivers go out there and have themselves a go of it. I mean, you're talking guys like Terry McLaurin, who's an absolute monster out there, right? I believe they're number 2 in yards this year is a Zach Ertz, the tight end, which that doesn't normally bode well for Steelers Laskers. Tight ends having success, huh?
No. It's not good at all.
Not at all. And when you look at this team, I mean, they come at you. This is what's scary for me is they come at you with depth and they come at you with a bunch of people. I mean, hell, I think even in this offense they're running right now, I believe who's the backup there now? Marcus Mariota. I believe he has like 300 passing yards and 2 touchdowns with no interceptions this year. That's how good that team has been going out there. They really seem to be responding well to, oh my gosh, what the heck is their head coach name? The defensive coordinator from Dallas prior years. I cannot think of his name right now. But yeah, you're talking Jaden Daniels right now.
No chance I'm going to know who it is.
Okay. But when you look at it, you have McLaurin coming in here as their number 1 for sure. Zach Ertz going out there 350 receiving yards. Noah Brown 300 receiving yards. Austin Eckler with 200 yards out of the backfield. Zacchaeus, a little fast slot receiver with 200 yards. Diami Brown has another 100 yards. Luke McCaffrey's been coming on the last few weeks. He has 100 yards. You go to the rushing game. You have Wrong team, not the Falcons here. You have Brian Robinson from Alabama, Brian Robinson Jr., that is, 65 yards a game rushing. Jaden Daniels, the quarterback, at 50 yards a game rushing. Eckler hits you for another 30 yards a game. Former Steeler, though he never played, only got hurt here, Jeremy McNichols is averaging 20 yards. And the thing is, their worst average carrier is 4.6 yards per carry. They hit you hard. They hit you often. This offensive line has been absolutely dominant. Austin Seibert's having a decent year kicking the football, which is what the Steelers hopefully will hold them to. Man, this is a team that on offense is really, really scary, Laskers. I don't know where they're weak.
Dan Quinn is the answer, and I agree that I don't know where they're weak at it at all.
Yeah, that's what's scary to me is, Gingy, you got to find a weakness to expose. I mean, Tyler Biadasz is having a hell of a year out there. Maybe they have some injuries that are going on, but I mean, guys like Trent Scott, Dieter, this is a team of Sam Cosmi, of guys who were, NFL fringe starters, right? And just seem to be a unit that doesn't have a guy, I guess maybe you could argue Trent Scott is a big name guy, but doesn't have a guy who is necessarily a huge name on that offensive line. But man, do these dudes just always on the same page, always making the same blocks, always giving big holes in the running game, Gingy.
Got to disrupt this team where it hurts the most, right? At quarterback. Young quarterback, got to get him frazzled, got to get him out of rhythm, got to get him on the ground. There you go.
That's fair to say. You get to the defensive side of the ball. I mean, Daron Payne's there. I don't know if he's healthy, though. Kellen Farrell, a former first-round pick of the Raiders that got traded over there. Sheldon Day's a big guy in the middle. He used to play for the Browns. Middle linebackers, Bobby Wagner. That's where their weakest at, probably. I mean, you get to the secondary with, like, Jeremy Chin. I believe they just traded for Marshawn Lattimore, although I'm not sure if he's going to play this week, but I believe that's where Lattimore ended up going. And St. Just has been playing great, or St. Just has been playing great out there at corner. It's a team when you look at it, outside of the fact that they struggle stopping the run, They're a scary lot. I mean, Dante Fowler Jr. has 6.5 sacks this year. You have a number 4 from Louisville, another 4 that is from Louisville. You got Dorrance Armstrong with another 3 in there. Bobby Wagner clearly leading the team in tackles because, well, everyone knows Bobby Wagner might be like 40 years old, but that dude seems to always be in the right place. Like, his football knowledge is undoubtable, Laskers.
Definitely. I mean, it definitely is undoubtable.
Yeah, they don't really intercept the ball in the back end, but they don't give anything over the top. The way the Steelers have been playing recently, we really need that over the top look. I feel, Gingy, this might be, it definitely is to date. This is the biggest challenge we faced, right?
I think so. At this team, at this time, yeah.
Yeah, we're getting into the thick of it. We're getting into the absolute must-win games for our Pittsburgh Steelers time. I guess you can't call it must-win because we probably could go
We're not
4
there
and
yet.
5 the rest of the way and make the playoffs. But
Pretty close.
it'd be
We're
nice
not
to
there
establish
yet.
ourselves as dominant, right, Gingy?
Yeah, coming off of a bye, with the rest, with the game plan, let Russ cook. Here we go.
Let's hope so. Hopefully, and I've said this before, hopefully they haven't got enough tape to figure out what we do yet. Normally it's 4 games and then we'll have to counter from there. But if you guys are ready, let's go ahead. Let's get into cash or trash. Let's start on offense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And let's start with newly acquired Mike Williams. We'll have 30-plus receiving yards, Gingy, cash it or trash it.
30-plus receiving yards, newly acquired. Cash it. Cash it in. I've been seeing Russ doing a good job of spreading the ball around so far this season, so I think the new acquisition will get folded into the mix pretty quickly. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Laskers, the Commanders are very, very bad at stopping the run. The Steelers are very, very good at running the ball. Recently, that continues. Najee Harris, over 100 yards and 4.5 yards per touch. Cash or trash?
Ooh. I'm going to cash that one in.
Yeah, let's go.
Gingy, Steelers' offensive line has been hit or miss. You know, they have given up a lot of quarterback pressures. Commanders, top 10 in the league in sacks.
Mm-hmm.
Commanders get 3 or more sacks against the Steelers' offensive line. Cash or trash?
Yeah, they do. Cash it in.
Laskers, Russ has played relatively clean ball, or clean throwing the ball. He does have his turnovers, you know, when it comes to the running portion. This week, Russ Wilson will throw his first interception to a team that really doesn't get many. Cash or trash?
Trash.
Laskers likes him on the clean slate. Let's go. Gingy, last one for the offense. We gotta talk about your boy George Pickens, right? It's been working every time we do. He breaks 100 yards with a touchdown again. Cash or trash?
Ooh.
Did you get
100
both the
and a
receiver picks?
No. That doesn't mean we're not going to have a good day in the air. I just think Russ is going to do a good job of spreading the ball around. Trash
Fair
100, but trash 100, keep the tut.
Fair enough. Laskers, let's go to you for your closing thoughts on what's going to happen here for the Steelers offensively against the Commanders, of course.
I think it's going to be an uphill battle, and hopefully we can come out on top. I'm not convinced we will.
Gingy.
Yes.
Offense, what you seeing?
Give me the basic recipe for victory. That's establishing a pace on the ground game with Najee, 100 yards, 4.5 a touch. That's a good start. Again, fighting a hard slog game, and you know what? I don't know if it's offense, but it is offense. Watch for Chris Boswell again this week. Might become a big factor.
That's fun because that's actually going to be exactly you get a cash or trash my offensive take take on this game, Gingy, is the Steelers' offense runs the ball pretty effectively. Passing the ball, they don't hit the deep play because the Commanders kind of prevent the deep play. Struggle in the red zone, and the Steelers kick 6 field goals is what ends up happening. Not going to say any more than they kick 6 field goals, and they have a slow start and struggle in the red zone. Those are the 3 points I'm saying on the offense. You guys can choose to cash all, trash some, do whatever you want. Laskers, you want to go first on it?
No, you said Gingy.
All right, Gingy.
6 is a bit exorbitant, but I hear your point on that.
We've already done it.
Yeah, well, I don't think we go 6 this week. I think Russ is too efficient in the red zone. If we've got Najee running like that, we won't get the big one. But yeah,
ironically, that's the one spot he's been terribly inefficient in his 2 starts is the red zone.
That's unfortunate. Well, then we're talking about making sure, right, that we establish that presence. I don't think we're going to get 6 field goals. I do think we're going to fill in the other part. 2/3 cashed, 1/3 trashed.
Laskers, what'd you like on it?
I'm cashing it in.
Let's
Whole
go.
thing.
Oh, all right. Let's go to defense. Let's start with Laskers. TJ Watt and Highsmith seem to be a nice combo. They, again, will combine for 2.5 or more sacks, cash or trash.
I'll cash it in. Not feeling good about it, but I'm going to cash it in.
Okay, let's go to Gingy. The Steelers have struggled against the run. That continues. The Commanders are going to run for more than 4.5 yards a carry and over 120 yards, cash or trash.
No, trash it. Not happening on our watch today. Not today.
Fair enough. I like that. Laskers, the Commanders are a hell of a scoring offense, but the Steelers managed to hold them under 20 points, cash or trash.
Trash.
Fair enough. Gingy, you know what's coming, right? It's your last one. You know what's going to get asked of you. So I'll just ask you right now, cash or trash? And you can explain to the people what it is.
We talking splash? We talking splash?
We talking Minkah Fitzpatrick with 0.
Cash.
You say, wait, you have faith Minkah's getting off the snide?
Oh, no. I thought you said Minkah at 0, cash or trash. I cashed in Minkah at 0, but not
enough.
getting off the snide.
Fair enough. Laskers, we get ended here. Last one. The Steelers secondary. It's time for them to step up, right? I mean, they just got newly reinstated Cam Sutton, although I don't know if he's actually been added to the active roster. I should have done a little more research on that. But Beanie Bishop's been red hot. The Steelers do make Jaden Daniels look like a rookie quarterback with 2 or more interceptions, cash or trash.
Trash.
Oh, ruining my hide, Laskers. Come on now. I need some positivity. Gingy, give me the positivity on what the defense is going to do this week.
I would have cashed your 2 picks. All right, that's what we need to do. We need to see splash plays. We're going to see 2 interceptions, maybe even a fumble recovery. That's what's going to be the difference in the game. I don't know if we turn them all into tuts, but there's where them field goals come in. And we're going to be able to hold them down on the run game. They're not going to have a day on the ground. Shut them down. Strong offensive line and defensive line play this week. Let's go.
I like to hear it. Laskers.
I'm thinking we're gonna have 1 sack and 1 interception. That's about where I'm at.
Leaf.
Laskers is raining on my happy parade, Gingy. I don't like it.
I know. I don't like it. We're 6-2.
If you're listening to me, you can already figure out where my prediction is.
Dude, I'm going to rain on my own parade here soon enough, Laskers. I sure as hell don't need you doing it right now. All right, the Steelers get to defense. I do think they make Jaden Daniels have some of those rookie moments, right? I do feel like that is a thing that will happen. However, I think the Commanders' offense proves why they're a top 3 offense in the league. And I do think maybe they break that 20-point threshold. So for me, the cash or trash part's going to be the Steelers do force, in fact, 2 turnovers, but the Commanders do score more than 20 points. What do you guys think on that?
I think
Cash and
Commanders-
push.
Yep, I think
Cash and
Commanders
push.
score more than 20.
Oh,
Kind of
well,
reveals
I know where
part of my
I know where
prediction there,
Gingy
but
scores at.
yeah, I was gonna say reveals part of my prediction, but not the whole thing.
Okay, so let's get on to picks. I have to say kudos, gents. We all were totally predicting a Ravens 1-point victory at home. So good job to everybody there.
Pretty much, yeah. Yep. Saw that the whole way.
Absolutely nailed that one. We did.
Mhm. Yep.
We don't have to talk about Cleveland because they don't play this week. So that means there's one game to pick. It is the Commanders. It is the Steelers. And we are going to start with what the hell does Madden think is going to happen this week? And the answer is Madden thinks we're going to lose. They think we're going to lose 13-17. Preseason,
Hang on a second. Which Madden are you running?
the new one.
So 23 thinks we're going to win 27-3, just so you know.
Is that the old one?
Yeah.
So you're saying
It's like
Kenny
2 years
Pickett-
old.
Kenny
It's like
Pickett
2 years
is an
old.
upgrade?
Kenny Pickett's going to fucking destroy him.
All right, I'm glad we're there. As I said, I'm not changing a single pick from my preseason picks. I really do think, though, that this is the way this game's going to go. I think the Steelers lose this game 24-18. All they do is kick field goals, and I think the biggest X factor in this game is going to be Jaden Daniels. We'll let Laskers go last because he really wants to. Gingy, who do you like?
Gingy's up to bat, and we're going to be swinging for the fences with the Steelers coming in 23. Coming in 23. Commanders coming in at 20. All right, we're going to see probably those 3 field goals, hopefully 3 turnovers, and going to be a nail biter right down to the very end. I think it's going to be one of them drives where we're trying to keep them out of field goal range to try to, for them to come up and tie. And we're going to see something just spectacular from X Factor TJ Watt. I know that might be a little eccentric, but I'll tell you what, TJ Watt coming in clutch
Gingy,
at the end as he needs
to. You have no
to.
clue how close we are in this game. Because I think Terry McLaurin beating Joey Porter Jr. and Mika Fitzpatrick in the final minute is why we lose by 6. So we're actually really close on how we think the game's going to go. Just
it's
not
true.
the outcome.
Yep. But that's where I stand.
Well,
I think that's what I'm willing to give you this week. Give it to Laskers.
Well, since I said that they were going to score more than 20, and also that Boswell's going to have 6 field goals, I'm going 28-25, 1 Steelers touchy, and that's questionable, but I'm going with it.
Okay, Steelers touchy definitely means he's picking Washington to win. I could do math.
Yep. Washington Commanders win the game, and Daniels is my X Factor with 4 touchies.
Our panel surely is fanboying over Jaden Daniels over here. I'm not quite sure how I feel about this right now. Oh, I realize I forgot to update y'all on our picks. Well, last week, the bye week kind of sucks. Gingy and Laskers both 3-0. I decided to put faith in Jameis Winston and the Browns, so I only went 2-1 because I'm an idiot and believed in Jameis Winston. That puts Gingy at 24-8 this year. Nice picking. Lasker's up to 13-19, getting closer, and I'm trailing 20-12. So I gotta start picking against Gingy. Maybe
and you were making fun of me. You were making fun of me.
Only 4 games back. Well, very
it's
reachable.
either gonna be 3 or 5 by the end of the weekend. So I'm actually hoping it's 5, to be quite honest with you. But I'm feeling it's going to be 3, Gingy.
Well, yeah, let's hope
I know,
not.
right? Any non-Steeler stories or Steeler stories you guys want to talk about before we hit a shout out and wrap this thing up?
I think I'm ready to wrap. We're ready to go. What do you think, Laskers?
I think I'm ready to wrap. I got nothing I want to shout out.
No trades that tickled y'all's fancies.
Not really.
That's.
I don't know. What did you see, Donkey? Is there something I'm missing? Something that grabbed your attention
I
out
think
there?
the biggest trades to me was Tre'Davious White going to Baltimore because their secondary's been terrible. I don't know if that will help. And I think the biggest trade was Marshawn Lattimore going to Washington. Really, the thing they were missing was that corner who intercepts the football to play beside St. Juste. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know if he's playing this week because I know he has an injury designation. He just got brought to the team. But that dude could really help them push themselves into that conversation with what is the conversation right now in the NFC Washington, Philadelphia, and then the 3 NFC North teams in Green Bay, Minnesota, and Detroit? Is that what we need to talk about in the NFC? Is there a competitor somewhere I'm missing? Like maybe the Atlanta Falcons?
Where'd the Niners go?
They're
like 500 this year.
They actually here's where you're thinking.
I can't put
McCaffrey's
Otis in with
back.
them without Christian McCaffrey, man.
McCaffrey's back.
Okay, he's got to show it though. Like coming back off an injury,
he does.
He's got to show he's healthy before I can feel on that team. But man, I'll tell you right now, that team, even with about 100 yards a game rushing, without the explosiveness of Christian McCaffrey, man, Brock Purdy has really struggled to get it done out there. I believe the team leading that division is the frickin' Arizona Cardinals with James Conner running the football. Love to see that, by the way. I love to see that. James Conner, man, he runs hard. He's just never healthy for 16 games in a season. Never.
Yeah, I just don't know enough about that division to even comment.
I'll tell you what, the Cardinals could be a scary team going forward. They got a good run game if James Conner can stay healthy. Marvin Harrison has been getting better week in, week out. That is a team that could potentially win that division and be scary. Of course, you got Seattle, who just finds, if you watched last weekend, just finds the most interesting ways to lose games, like about to take the lead, throw a pick 6 at the other team's 6-yard line, but then drive down the field to get the game-tying score just to lose in overtime. Like, Seattle, man, they find some fun ways to lose football games.
Brutal. Sounds brutal to be a Seattle fan, eh?
All right now, man. It has to hurt. The Rams haven't really done anything, but no one's really out of it in that division, just like the AFC South, or NFC South, that is. But you look at the 2 divisions that are really looking good there. It's the NFC East and the NFC North. They seem to have all the competitors. Now, there's a big X factor of San Francisco could become that team again, but just... Man, they've had so many injuries. Not only McCaffrey, but so many injuries on that defense. Jay Wobble's hurt out there, and Hargrave. I don't know, man. The defense isn't shut down. When you put the pressure on Purdy, he isn't getting it done right now. He needs to play a little better, in my opinion, because the receivers are all healthy there. Purdy really needs to prove he can step up without McCaffrey there for me to take the Niners serious against this new wave of competitive teams, because I'm going to tell you right now, man, and we're playing one of them right now, Gingy. The freaking Commanders and the damn Detroit Lions, I don't know how you stop those 2 teams on defense. They are so good offensively. I don't know how you stop them.
Yeah, I don't know either. They're hot right now, Donkey.
I mean, both of them, when you look at it, both of them have 2 running backs who have been vastly successful. At least 2 wide receivers who are putting up good numbers, a good tight end, an offensive line that's getting the job done, and a top 5 overall quarterback in terms of where they were drafted. Those two teams, man, Laskers. I don't know if you got to watch any of those two, but whew, there is some offense going on in the NFC, and I guess the AFC North too, man. The Steelers putting up points, the Ravens putting up points, the Bengals putting up points, and then the stains waiting to be flushed.
I haven't watched a lot, but the Lions are scary good this year.
Yeah, even without Aiden Hutchinson, that defense is still playing really good. That's what's the biggest surprise to me probably in the NFL to date is the way Detroit's defense has played without Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, you lose TJ Watt, right? Because that's what he is for them, and they're still spanking people on defense, man.
Yeah.
I guess we can go ahead. We can go to shout-outs. Gingy, any shout-out for the bye week?
Shout out new Steelers. Williams, Preston. Let's go.
You confused me there when you went from a last name to a first name, but I got you tracking. Laskers, shout out for you.
I got nothing really for shout outs. I mean, yeah, it's cool to have 2 new guys, and hopefully they show up and put up, but only time will tell.
Put up, let go.
I have a kind of unique shout out, I guess, for me for this time of year. I'm going to pull the Laskers, and I'm going to absolutely avoid football, right? The Cobra, Dave Parker, finally getting a chance to maybe get in Baseball Hall of Fame. Kind of cool. Like to see it. But I guess I gotta let you know now, I am the Viking Donkey. That's Viking_Donkey at Twitter, your daily dose of donkey. Ginger is the fun YouTube channel where you get all this content. Let us know if there's anything else you'd like us to do, like to hear from us, like to see going on in the background rather than the boring Madden games that I put there. But I got nothing else to say. Make sure you tune in next week. Bugcaps will be going at it again as there will be a game. We'll have some more fun Steelers talk. We'll actually get to talk about the Steelers playing a good team and what happened. That should be fun, Laskers, right?
Oh, it'll definitely be fun.
You've said that in like the most depressed voice ever.
Is that a throw to Gingy?
I don't know.
Yeah, throw to
Laskers
Gingy.
just gave up. Hope be gone.
I gave up hope because I'm not sure we're gonna win.
Oh
Hope is
no,
dead.
that doesn't sound good at all. Bring it to Gingy.
I did. I threw it to you.
All right. Well, then we need to bring up this hope to sign it off, right? All right. Let's go,
No
folks.
fumbles.
Coming off the bye week. We're rested. We're ready for splashes. We're ready for TJ. We're ready for Russ. Let's go, Steelers. Wave them if you got them. 7-2, baby.